Hey guys, what's going on? It's Ash here coming at you today in Clash Royale. Today, I want to talk about something that has been on my mind for a while now. I've never done a video on it. This shouldn't be a super long video because how long can you talk about one little issue or maybe a big issue inside the game? And that is starting hands, right? So, why are starting hands an issue? Well, I have two reasons that I want to share for you guys. Actually, three reasons. Number one is it makes for really bad TV, right? So, or streams. So when we have these competitions like the World Championship and all the streams leading up to it, no one wants to sit there and watch players not make a move for 2 minutes because of their starting hands, because they lack the defensive cards to be able to support their first card played. So in other words, you play a pump, but you have nothing else defensively to stop your opponent from punishing you, or you just don't have a good starting play at all, or you have a heavier deck and it doesn't behoove you, it doesn't benefit you to make the starting play. So there's a few reasons why you wouldn't want to make a starting move. I really want to hear what you guys come up with on this dilemma because I think that you guys have some great ideas. I love reading the comments on videos like these. So why else is it an issue? It's an issue because it's the one part of the game that that has a lot of variability to it. Your starting hand, sometimes, especially when you get into the more competitive scene, or even if you're just on ladder and you're at that match where you want to get to your personal best and you get a really crappy starting hand, or even worse, you're at the 19th win or the 20th win of a 20-win special challenge or a 12 win of a classic or a grand challenge, and you just get absolutely wrecked by an awful starting hand, and what's worse, your opponent gets an even better one, right? That stinks. So there's so much randomness in the starting hand, and it creates that dilemma where no one's playing, that I think that those two things combined, I think that something ought to be done. And I think that it's one of those things, right, in Clash Royale right now, there are big problems and there are small problems. This one's probably a small problem, but I think it would make the world of difference if we addressed it. And by we, I mean none of us. I mean the Clash Royale team at Supercell. And they've always been great at coming up with outside-the-box ideas, so my faith lies in them here. But I do think it's an issue that I hope they took a look at and address. So here's my idea. It's nothing groundbreaking and out of this world, and I think I like it that way. I like my ideas to not be super complex, and I know some of you guys in the comments, some of you guys, not all of you, and I love this. I love you guys. Don't think I'm dissing you. But some of you guys put like, man, a really in-depth solution to a really simple problem. For example, 7 paragraphs on how, okay, this would change and then, oh, after 10 seconds, this would happen, in 15 seconds, this would happen, in 20. No. I mean, even though those are often good ideas, Clash Royale, the dev team won't go for it. They won't, because they like to keep the game relatively simple without a lot of special rules. That's one of their founding principles in all of their games. So we have to keep it, relatively simple. More importantly, just easily understandable by someone who's just picking up the game. You shouldn't need a tutorial to understand how this solution works. So that's why my solution is so simple. It's discard. Right? Only once per game. At the very beginning of the game, you can discard a card and replace it with another card, and your opponent doesn't know if you did that or not, okay? So the question is, should discarding one card and replacing it with another card in your deck, obviously that will just cycle it, right? Should that cost you maybe 1 elixir as kind of a penalty? That way there's some incentive to play a card early on, not knowing if your opponent discarded. Let me put that another way. So if, let's say, you can choose to discard one card to bring up your 5th card, okay? So essentially you're cycling so that you can see your 6th card and you have your 5th card now in your hand to correct your starting hand, to make it more advantageous and set up your rotation and cycle at the beginning of a match. Maybe your elixir collector's your 5th card and you think, hey, I'd rather have that in my hand. My opponent's not playing anything. I'll discard here. Well, it adds a little element of strategy, which I love. More strategy is good. And if it comes at a 1 elixir or maybe even 2 elixir penalty, That's really cool too, because then let's say you have a starting hand and you're the opponent, right? Or you have a very fast deck. I mean, that would get you playing cards faster, because let's say I have a hog cycle deck. I'm going to play a hog first, and then or maybe I'll delay like 1 or 2 seconds, not knowing if my opponent discarded. I'll play a hog immediately, or I'll play a pump, and you still get, you still get the advantage of not being able to be punished right away, or you have the elixir advantage there if you play the hog rider. So I think that I'm not 100% sure if they should have the elixir penalty, but I think it opens up an interesting element of strategy and more tactics to the game. So yeah, that's my idea. I also wanted to share, because we're only at like 5 minutes, I'm not going to make a 5-minute video. I also wanted to share another idea that I've been thinking about as kind of a bonus for you guys. But the idea is, I think that there should be, and I've said this before, but I've never kind of fleshed out the idea. I want to know what you guys think of it, right? Because we talked about discard to start the match. And now I'm thinking about a card that can benefit beatdown decks, because I do think that even the goal, like the worst archetype right now in my mind, is beatdown of Siege. I think Siege is very healthy. I think that Bait and Ship are incredibly healthy. Control's incredibly healthy. And also cycle decks are great right now. So I think that all the archetypes are really strong. However, that Lava Loon and Golem, they're viable, don't get me wrong, but they're not quite as strong as the other archetypes. So I think making a spell that benefits heavy decks would be really cool. And my spell is called Cannibalization, or Cannibalize. I don't know, is that too long? Anyway, what the spell does is it's a 0 elixir card. Ooh, all right off the bat, half of you guys are like, 0 elixir sounds too gimmicky, I hate it, Ash. But listen, right? So it's a 0 elixir card. And what it does is it gives you 1 or 2 elixir, depending. Like, these are all parameters that the Clash Royale team would have to kind of decide on. It's a 0 elixir card, so it's incredibly powerful right off the bat, because it cycles for free, right? A 0 elixir card is, I mean, if you had a 0 elixir card that did nothing, that would be powerful, right? Because it just improves your cycle, pretty much. It helps you get to the 7 cards that mean the most, or your win condition, or your counter really quickly. So there has to be a lot of risk that comes with the card. So the risk is cannibalization. Some of you might have already guessed. The risk is that you're taking tower damage, self-inflicting tower damage. So this 0 elixir card gives you elixir and takes away tower damage. I really like it. The reason it benefits big heavy decks, which I think again are a little bit lingering behind right now, is that you can take damage with heavy decks, right? I mean, you could use this card in every deck. That's why it would have to be fine-tuned. The amount of damage you take would probably have to be pretty significant, okay? But it can't be so significant that, every time you use it, you're like losing half a tower. So, my gut tells me maybe you gain 1 elixir for like 300, 400 damage. I don't know. Maybe that's off. That's not my job. My job is to give the concept, okay? So the concept is, just like I said, you'd gain a little bit of elixir, you'd cycle faster, and you'd take tower damage. So I don't know what the ratio would be, but those are 2 things that I'd like to see, 2 relatively small things that I'd love to see added to the game, on top of all those big things that we always talk about, the tournaments, the challenges, the clan wars. I mean, tournaments with challenges. I think tournaments, how hard is it? I mean, listen, it might be hard. I'm an idiot. Oh man, someone's gonna clip that and kill me. Memes galore in this video. So I think that I'm naive to what goes on inside the dev team, how difficult these things are, but adding the special challenges to a custom tournament would be amazing. And it sounds pretty small, but I don't want to get off track here. Those are big things. The 2 small things that I mentioned in today's video are 2 things that I would love to see added to the game. A cannibalization spell, or something to help beatdown decks, and also of course, the discard option. So guys, what do you think of those 2 ideas? Do you like them? Do you dislike them? Let me know in the comments below, and let me know if you have an idea that I didn't mention, or maybe a tweak to one of my ideas that you think would benefit the game right now as well. We're thinking little ideas, little fixes, not, I want to add Clash Royale 2 inside the Clash Royale 1, okay? So guys, thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this short video of just sharing my ideas, what's on my mind in Clash Royale. Huge shout out to Bren Chong, my YouTube partner. You can find his information in the description below. Thank you, and as always, take care, guys.